there was the disciples, and they thought Jesus Christ is going to come and he is going to lead us into a new kingdom, and that is going to change the world. But then all of a sudden he's dead. He's dead and it's over. And so think about the despair that they were feeling then. I mean, that is such an intense loss. That they're not going to be able to recall anything. So this is that hunt they had to go on for not just Jesus Christ, like we go and hunt for treats, but they were hunting for a new way to understand life. That how are we going to go on and have hope? All right. So then these are the sequence of events that happened after that. The angel rolled away the stone. The angel rolling back the stone. Rolling away the stone means the Lord was removing all falsity, because stones can be a symbol of falsity or truth, depending on context, that had been blocking people from approaching God. Divine truth was being opened up. So that stone might seem like some old thing in an old story, but it's affecting the way we currently in our lives are getting messages from heaven, even though we don't realize it. All the higher concepts in us are coming because that stone is gone. Then we had the guards fainting. The women were terrified when they saw it. The sudden appearance of a heavenly presence at first causes either a collapse or fear, as people realize how weak their own lives are in comparison to the power of the Lord's life. If you almost got hit by something huge, but it just missed it. Wow, that is powerful. And then you also had this Jesus appearing to people in a locked room. And this is an interesting little tangent or point that Swedenborg goes on. After his work on earth was finished, Jesus Christ was completely purified, and everything about him became divine, including his physical body. His body could now cross between the spiritual and physical worlds and operate in both. He could suddenly appear in a locked room like a spirit, and yet could also eat physical food and be touched physically, as when Thomas asked to touch the wounds on his hands. Why did he have those? If he was a spirit, isn't the spirit made whole? Swedenborg says that the work that Jesus did, I mean, that was such an intense thing that actually the physical body became spiritual. You never had before physical material becoming spiritual, but there was somehow this connection that didn't suspend the laws of physical or spiritual order, but somehow Jesus could actually have that body so he could be divine and spiritual, but interact with the physical world. Pretty good trick. So you, at this point, I'm sure, if you haven't turned off the show, you're saying, where do you get off saying that all these points of the story have symbolic detail about Jesus Christ, about the divine human in them? Jesus never said, the Bible never says that's how it is. Jesus never says that's how it is. Or does he? There's a story after the crucifixion where there are a couple of disciples walking down, perhaps you've heard it, the road to Emmaus, and they meet a stranger and a conversation ensues. And I'll let you hear the rest of it here.
Then he said to them, "O foolish ones, and slow of heart to believe in all that the prophets have spoken. Ought not the Christ to have suffered these things and to enter into his glory? And beginning at Moses and all the prophets, he expounded to them in all the scriptures the things concerning himself."
He expounded to them that ended up being Jesus. They got their eyes open. They sat down, broke bread. They got their eyes open, recognized him, afterwards on there, they knew that was Jesus. So Jesus is going back through the Old Testament and saying, here's all the details about me in all the scriptures. It says all the scriptures. We've done a little bit of that here tonight, told the details of Jesus, which it might seem like, why are we talking about Jesus? But what Jesus does affects everyone always. God is independent of time and space. It's as much happening in our individual lives as it did in the story of the people being liberated in heaven. But that's showing Jesus is walking on the road to Emmaus. He's telling those disciples, look, this is how the Old Testament, the rest of it's about me, and the New Testament as well, which hadn't been written but was being acted out in this same symbolic way. It's just like us saying, here's how the Israelites' Exodus story mirrored what Jesus did. This is how the whole text is written, and that's why it's divine. And then further in Luke, this is 24, verse 32. And they said to one another, did not our hearts burn within us while he talked with us on the road and while he opened the scriptures to us? If he's opening the scriptures to them, what's he open? What's in there? If he opens the scriptures to them and it's just all the same as it was before, there's got to be a whole new meaning in there. And this new meaning, this was one of Swedenborg's great missions, was saying, look, I've been shown what this meaning is. And that is going to be this meaning, this internal meaning, is going to be the foundation of this whole new way that God and humanity relate to each other. And it's going to kick off this great new era.